Hello and welcome to the Right Click Save podcast. I'm your host Calcio and I'm joined by my co-host Jimmy T. How are you doing, Jim?
I'm good. I'm excited. I think we've got an awesome guest on this week who's got a lot of knowledge about the space, and I'm eager to hear about it.
With us today is, I love doing the intros. I think he's got one of the most recognisable CyberKongz in the space, at least to me, because he goes by the name of Ragnar. He's a YouTuber, top 5 Opensea trader, and of course now project owner. It's Eddyiskongz. How are you doing, Eddy?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you for having me on your show.
You're welcome, man.
So I guess the best place to start is the place we start with a lot of people. How did you start with your NFT journey? Can you remember what captured you about the space?
Yeah, I mean, I started last, I would say my first trade happened like early February of 2021. And I was hooked, to be honest. I just learned about CryptoPunks. I was going the Ethereum developer route to learn how to develop. And I was following a lot of people who were like in the space. And I just remember it was like January-ish, like I was following the space a little bit. And somebody retweeted an alien punk that sold for like 600 plus Ethereum. And I'm like, wow. What? Is this like Crypto Kitties again, but like different? Yeah. You know, like are they making a comeback? What's happening? Because I knew about Crypto Kitties. I knew about kind of some background because I've been in crypto since 2014. But overall, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that's kind of cool. So I kind of started looking into it. I had some spare ETH. I threw a little bit of money in punks and I was hooked. I saw the prices kind of going up and I threw even more. And I think just being part of the punks community on Discord and just learning so much for just being in there kind of got me hooked into wanting to stay and even learning more and more about this space.
Were you kind of skeptical about NFTs before you kind of jumped in? Before you kind of bought your first and joined the community?
Skeptical, not really, but I think I was kind of surprised to see them make that comeback for another. I just thought like Crypto Kitties would make a comeback potentially, because they were really famous in 2018. But then punks, made this big jump, with the PFP movement, with their prices, with the rarities, with everything. But I think when I went into Discord and I started interacting with the people and talking, they were very knowledgeable about the space. They were very knowledgeable about crypto, about projects coming out, about alpha. And it was kind of like this little revolution happening in the Discord. And when I went in there, it kind of like brought my attention to like, wow, this space has a lot of potential.
Straight down the rabbit hole then.
Yep.
I went back and watched your first video a few weeks ago, actually, which was kind of why I was so keen to get you on, because how passionately you talk about a specific project. We kind of see a lot of people jump from project to project, but for you, you've been such a diehard CyberKongz fan for so long. For our listeners, what was it for you when you saw that project? Because you called it so well. I'd say it's probably one of the best bloody calls I've ever seen in the space. not to blow you off too much, but it turned out really well. What was it for you about CyberKongz that really connected so early on?
I saw them initially when I was in Punk's Discord, like early March. A lot of alpha calls in there, a lot of different things they talk about. And I saw CyberKongz come up. And I always wanted an ape in the punk collection. But of course, even back then and now, out of reach. So I was like, I really like these apes. I want one. I just got a few. But really, when it really hit me that, hey, I need to get more, was probably around like the April time frame when they were thinking about the minting for the babies, the banana, the tokenization. Just kind of seeing like, oh my God, like, I came from punks where, the PFP was the PFP and like, maybe there were some talks about me bits, but not really that much back then. They kind of just still dropped those. But in CyberKongz, there's always talk about development, always next, always something. And to me, like that blew my mind. I'm like, there's so much gaming potential here because I knew about Axie, but there's nothing from Axie brought to PFPs. And they kind of brought that ecosystem to PFPs and they revolutionized the whole industry. And I just saw that really early and I was lucky to be in there early enough to see that.
You definitely got in at a really exciting time. And you're right, it's almost been like the renaissance of for NFTs.
For sure. It's been crazy.
I guess the other thing which is really interesting is how much conviction you had, because you, correct me if I'm wrong, sold your punks, all of them, to put more money into CyberKongz. What that says to me is more about your conviction in the community and about how strong a lot of NFT communities can be. Are you still quite an active part of the CyberKongz community now?
every day. I'm in there every day DJing with them. Wall Street Kongs. I'm in Genesis Hall. I'm in the OG Lounge. Like, I'm always talking to somebody, because what's amazing, like you just said, community. And to be honest, like, I categorize communities. Like, I kind of say, okay, there's pump and dump communities. There's builder communities. There's hype communities. There's many types of communities. But I think what makes the CyberKongz community so amazing, it's like a school. You go in there and you learn about new projects. You learn about different things about NFTs. You learn what to avoid, what not to do. And just people are so helpful to each other. So their community is like an education system almost for NFTs.
Yeah, I definitely noticed myself when I joined like the Crypto Dads community, how different it was to, just because I've been in crypto since about 2017, but how different it was to the crypto communities that I was part of, like a stark difference. I think that's what really sucked me down the rabbit hole, was that those relationships that you build immediately in the NFT communities.
100%.
So let's be completely real right now. The Genesis collection CyberKongz are unobtainable to the vast majority of people. Let's say I can go and get a baby Kong. I've got enough, which is still a pricey investment, right? I think they're around 6-7 ETH still, and maybe a little bit more.
Yep.
Would I get the same level of engagement as if I was in the Genesis Hall, or is it that you do get that upper echelon of alpha, if you like, within the Genesis Hall?
Be honest, the biggest thing that's talked about in Genesis Hall is everybody's holidays. Everybody's talking, but of course, you know, there is, like, I would say, you get a baby, you still have access to Wall Street Kongs, and 90% of my time I'm in there, to be honest. So I think when you go to the other, like, you know, like you get a Genesis or you get something else, like, sure, the conversations change, but I feel like because of the limited amount of people that are in them, they're not as consistent as, you know, having a baby and being with more hundreds of people than in the other ones. So just because of the amount of people, I think it just makes it more fun to be engaged in Wall Street Kongs and others.
I'm jealous now. I want one.
I might have to go and I've been tempted, to be honest, because obviously knowing that you were going to come on, which was quite exciting for me, because we've got the infamous that you're technically a top 5 Opensea trader, which is really cool. Cool. I've done more research into CyberKongz. Obviously, you can't be in the space without being aware of them, but the more I've looked into it, the more it does seem like such a good investment, because we've got the massive amount of community spirit, which is clear, but you've also got, like you said, the level of it. Like, if you look at projects that have genuinely done something that is unique, I'd say CyberKongz is well up there as one of the most innovative projects. Let's talk about that top 5 stat then. So I saw you tweet maybe a few weeks ago, just like, it was a little graph that showed the top 5 traders. How did that come about?
I think it's just like, you know, I started with like 60 ETH. Like, my initial investment was close to 60 ETH for Punks. I sold them at a profit when they hit like maybe close to like 30 Ethereum floor, like, and then they went back to 14. So I sold like right at the top. So I was able to get like close to like 300 Ethereum from that. Nice. And then I invested half of that in Genesis when they were really low, and I bought like 45 plus of them.
Wow.
And then I sold like 25 of them, and I kept 20. I still have 20 Genesis, but I sold 25 for like a profit of like almost 1,000 Ethereum. And then I reinvested that money in different collections, and I went into DeFi, into like different stuff. So cool. I think just I think my buys and sells, you know, like the amount I invested versus how much I got back from just 2 collections, that's, I think, what put me like my ROI top 5.
Oh man, I dream about that kind of liquidity. You must have had a pretty good couple of months then with all these airdrops coming out, SOS. And, I mean, this has been a good Christmas, yeah?
It's like, you know, they call me the sweeper because I tend to buy in bulk. Yeah. So because of my sweeping services, I'm getting my returns now.
Nice. Yeah, man. That's quality. I like that. I mean, I guess as well, I can just imagine as like community discords going nuts when they see you sweeping their floor.
It's fun.
Yeah, that must be fun. Yeah.
What are you looking at now then? I don't want you to, and I just want to make this really clear, one of the big things we've tried to avoid is like outright getting guests to shill stuff. We had Ben Jamin on recently, who's a really good trader as well. For our listeners that might be a bit newer to the space, if you were coming in now with like 1 ETH, right, what would you be looking for in a project today?
Good. Yeah. To be honest, there's a lot of difference, especially right now in like bull market. There's so many things that it feels almost in the bull market, it doesn't matter what you throw at, it might go up, right?
Yeah.
Versus like bear markets, it's the opposite. But right now, really, in terms of potential, I think the play to earn in gaming will be very big, especially if they have some metaverse ambitions as well, or if they even have their own metaverse that they're creating themselves. So in terms of roadmap, I really think Nifty Degens have a really big Nifty League. They have a really big opportunity because they're about to introduce play to earn. They've even hit close to like one. I think they did hit like one Ethereum floor, but they did kind of, retract a little bit. So I think they're sitting at 0.8, 0.9 right now. But they do have like a pretty good opportunity. And then of course, Fox Fam, they're looking really good in terms of like their 3D collection. They're from Yum Yum London. They work with Nickelodeon. They have like an amazing team. And I think their floor is like 0.5. And then like, of course, like another thing that I'm doing right now is my own project. And that's something I'm working on. So hopefully it does have the same opportunity and potential like the other projects I just mentioned.
If it looks like Kelsey is distracted now, he's probably quickly sweeping the floor.
Not yet. Well, Ben mentioned foxes as well. So I don't know if you're familiar with Ben, but he came on a few weeks ago and was fantastic. And he mentioned them as well. And I think he's been quite involved for quite a while. So it's funny how when you see people who probably haven't interacted say the same things, having had success, it probably means that I need to go buy a few. Yeah. I wanted to talk as well actually about, we've obviously had Look token drop recently, so you've probably done quite well off of that as well, as a man who's traded a few Ethereum. How have you found it so far? Have you preferred it to OpenSea short term? Can you see any upsides to changing platform?
I think it really brings because why is it so famous and doing so well? Well, first of all, people like free stuff. But also, I think it kind of brings up the narrative that people are tired of OpenSea. They're tired of it always being broken, customer service not there. So it kind of like shows you like, hey, if somebody does marketplace really well and they bring some potential, maybe lower fees and kind of some incentives, it does show you people are willing to move because they want customer service above anything else. So it does bring that up. Long term, it just depends how they do with their token, because I do see a little bit of wash trading. I do see a little bit of the UI happening, like it's not the best at the moment, but I think if the team can capitulate on the momentum, because hey, they do have that right now, and they're like, hey, we're going to fix all of these and that's not going to be a problem in the future, they have a giant opportunity to be a contender in the future.
It's so good for the space as well, because we've been crying out for some competition. This market needs competition. That is how it's going to develop, how it's going to mature, how it's going to get better for the people using it, for us. It's good news. The more that we can get different players into the marketplace, the better.
100%.
A few days ago, we were in. I think it was the day after we had the best day we've had since October, and OpenSea decided that it just had enough. And I think that for a lot of people, we'll all remember it really well. There were so many of those terrible derivatives, random projects, everything was just going green, right? It was crazy. Yeah. OpenSea goes down for 3 or 4 hours. When you come back, the momentum's gone. Yeah. And it's really frustrating, I think. At the minute, I'm not trading actively very much. I'm setting on core collections I like and holding on to them. But for friends and people in the space who are active traders and had made good plays, it must be incredibly frustrating to come back and a massive can't control has just stunted your growth. So
it was, yeah.
Jim had a few issues. What have you done with your Lux token? Have you staked? Have you taken some out? How have you put it? You staked all?
Yep, staking all of it right now. I actually bought quite a lot of it. I claimed mine. I still cannot claim from my hard wallet, so I do hope they fix that. There's quite a few hard wallets I have that I want to claim from, but eventually when I can, then I'll stake that as well. So I'm playing a pretty long game with this, just like SOS, and I do feel like Lux has like that type of potential to be a good long-term hold.
Did you hodl your SOS as well then?
Yeah, initially, yes, I did. But then I did see like my exit, and I did exit with a little bit extra.
Oh, that's what big red bar was.
Eddy dumps his 4 million billion tokens.
See if we can spot his exit on the chart.
What's that R. Kelly song? Or it wasn't me, right? It wasn't me.
You must have got so many Lux tokens, man. It must be disgusting.
Yeah.
Can you remember how many you actually got as a rough figure?
How many did you get?
I don't want to tell you. I got like 1,500, which I was like, 1,500 is cool. You must have. I don't want to. How many did you get? Can you remember?
I think I bought like 60K of it, and then I also like I got dropped like over 30K around some wallets, and I still cannot claim 20K. So I technically have 110K of it right now.
Nice. That's
nice. Nothing. That's fine. Just a small amount.
What's the total supply on that? Look, do we know?
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So you got like 10% of it.
For you though, right now, like you're super settled with Kongz. I'm not being funny. You could probably not make another play in the NFT space, and by just harvesting banana token and just being a community member, blah blah blah, you probably wouldn't have to make another trade ever again, really, and you'd be super settled. Are you looking actively at projects when you do that are of a higher quality or a higher Ethereum floor, or are you still trying to find those gems right around the sort of ETH and below mark, like you mentioned earlier?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm pretty picky, and I think I've always been a little bit picky with like how I pick my projects. So at first, when I pick punks, I don't know too much about them. I just knew they were kind of like, okay, they're kind of cool. But initially, when I went to Kongz, I just liked the art, but then I migrated pretty much all my money from punks to Kongz just because of the team, and also because of the community, and also because of the potential. So those three things I look to hit. Does it have a good team? Does it have a good community? Does it have potential for the future to be potentially a technology or something that nobody's doing that can be adopted later on? I'm very picky, but I think I look at teams more than anything these days, and potential, and then what communities are talking about. Because sometimes you go in there, if people are just talking about floors all day, if they're just talking about that kind of stuff, I tend to kind of stay away.
Yeah.
So.
It's kind of refreshing that you're in a nice position where you're not looking for flips, you're not looking for quick flips, you're looking to invest in medium long term sort of projects, which is must be a fun position to be in there as well, that you can kind of get involved with the communities a bit more.
For sure.
You mentioned earlier as well that you started off wanting to kind of go down the dev route. You were looking more into trying to understand the process more. We've not had very much information about Crypto Titans yet. I think you've only got like a dozen or less tweets on there. For our listeners who are tuning in today, is there anything you can tell them about the project that you're working on at the minute?
Yeah, Crypto Titans, that, to be honest, the full inspiration of that came from multiple areas. From New York, I want to say, when I went there for NFT NYC, I saw the part of the community firsthand. Like I saw like 5,000-6,000 plus NFT collectors, or Beeple was out there, Gary V. There were so many people that I knew from Kongz that I talked to them online all day, and then I actually saw them in person. I'm like, oh my god, you don't look anything like your baby. You're a grown man.
Yeah, you're not an ape.
It's even weird when we hear people on like spaces. So meeting people in real life must be really odd.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I want to add a lot of in real life utility for my collection. So that's where that's going to come from. And then in terms of being part of the Kongz so long, I'm starting to see a trend where there's a lot of different collections. Doodles came out, and now there's so many collections after Doodles. Apes came out. There's Kongz, but there's nothing like really that combines that's cyber traits with classical art yet. Yeah. I don't see too much of that. So I love Greek art. I love like Renaissance art. But what if you combine that with some cyber traits, and kind of like that's where the creativity behind that came by. I'm working with a really good team of artists. I have really good Solidity developers and web developers for our website and our roadmap and everything we're working on. But the inspirations really just came from meeting the community face to face and just wanting to add value to that.
That's cool. Very cool.
Because you're in a position, and this is just meant as straight as it said, you don't need to make a quick buck off of a project, which I think is really encouraging from a buyer's point of view.
You're not going to get rugged by Eddy.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. I have no reason to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It only takes 5 minutes of looking at your trading history and the fact that you're docs, blah, 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 to see that that's not what it's about. So from my point of view as a potential buyer, that's that's a really green, bullish sign. I wonder how you found it when you were first doxed, though, because it's one of those weird things in the space where some people like us, I'm not fussed, but obviously for some people they really want to hold on to their identity. How was it when you first turned up at NFT NYC? Did you find it kind of weird?
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was. it was a little bit weird. I already had my YouTube, so there was a few people that kind of recognized me. But at the same time, just meeting the people face to face, it was definitely a little bit two things, right? Two sides. You know, they see you, you don't see them. You know, what do they think of you when they actually meet you? You know, so but to be honest, the NFT community, some of the most welcoming, nicest freaking people I've ever met in my life. You know, like there's friends there that I felt like I grew up with. So, That's cool. It kind of reinforced me meeting everybody in person that, hey, this space, people are, you know, there are scammers everywhere. It doesn't matter where you go, but there's also a lot of good people that really care and they want to be part of the community and be friends with each other and just grow together. You know, it's just amazing. So I felt very confident when I went there in person.
Yeah, I mean, we've got there was a Crypto Dads in real life event that was announced, and straight away I was like, yeah, Casio, we got to go, man. Like, these are people we've been chatting to for months. Like, these people are important people in my life now. I want to go meet them face to face and have a beer with them.
For 100%, yeah.
I think the other big thing is, and again, I reckon most people have the same story. They start wanting just to make money. That's the primary focus. You go, cool, I've seen, like you said, people sell punks for tens of 20, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to go make loads of money. And then that becomes secondary quite quickly. I'm not saying we don't want to make loads of money. That's great. But you do just kind of get really transfixed in the community side of it if you find the right one. And you end up just getting really caught up in trying to find out where your friends are. And I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is, like you said, scammers everywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. You can be in just core crypto. You can be in stock. You can be anywhere you want. Doesn't matter. There's going to be scammers. What I've found is very similar to you in that there are a lot more people who are super, super easy to approach. You know, you've got a very big audience. You're a very successful trader. I reached out to you. You were like, yeah, cool. I'll come on straight away. AJ Vaynerchuk, cool man Dan, everyone we've had on has just been super duper approachable. And I'm really assuming that in the in real life space as well, it's kind of the same. Was there anyone that you did meet though that really stood out and kind of surprised you in a good way?
Yeah, I mean, I talked a lot to Inverted. He's from the CyberKongz community. He's one of the council members, and he was one of like my initial buddies in the space. I think honestly, if I look back in the punk Discord, he might have been one of the first people to like kind of throw in that picture of the CyberKong. So, you know, meeting him in person, talking to him, and just kind of like, it's so impressive knowing that he's part of the council now, you know, from being buddies, now he's part of the council. He's working on big things. It's just like, it impressed me so much, like how much you can grow in this space in such a short amount of time. Because sometimes I get called like OG or something. I don't think, to be honest, I don't think I am, just because I think there's other people who are here before me and I learned so much from them. Yeah. And, you know, in any other industry, you're in for a year, you're still a newbie, you know? So I'm still learning every day. I'm learning every day. And I think if I stop learning for like a week, if I stop learning for a month, you're going to be like 50 steps ahead of me. So if you don't stop learning, if you don't, you know, I don't think anybody's an OG. It's just like, how much information do you have and what do you do with that information that makes you successful? And I've learned a lot from Coco, Inverted, and a lot of the council members from Kongs.
And it's changing so fast, isn't it? I think if you step away from it for a week, 2 weeks, you come back and everything's changed. It's gone. There's a whole new trend that everyone's following. There's a whole new 8 million doodle derivatives. Or do you know what I mean? It's just literally every day is just moving so quick.
100%.
I guess the other thing which I'm really interested, just getting back to Crypto Titans as well. Did a lot of have you got anyone on your team that's come from CyberKongz with you? Have you got any friends you made via Kongs coming over with you as well?
Yep, I am getting some advice from some of my Kong friends. But right now, just because it's kind of like what I'm doing right now is very ambitious. So I got really close, like in real life persons, like, you know, I trust, and I'm like, hey, you know, you do this, you do that. And sometimes I feel like just because I know them in real life, it's like easier to contact and get together. But I am getting a lot of advice from like various people that I met in different Discords, especially the CyberKongz community.
The only other thing on the project, have you got any sort of idea when you're going to be trying to bring it out, or are you just trying to keep the approach that I want to make it work first and kind of make promises about dates later?
To be honest, the art is coming along really well. I'm estimating probably like early February we should be done with the art completely.
Nice.
The program is coming along really well. We should be launching the website and the white paper here in the next week or two. So really February will be marketing, and then March, I'm assuming, hopefully, if everything lines up, March will be the mint time frame that I'm looking at. But again, this is a project that brings a lot of in real life value and utility. So it's going to be very dependent on the things I do outside of not just the metaverse, but like the NFT, but like outside. Like I want this project to bring people together. I want this project to be a membership and not just like another NFT. Like I want it to be like what you said, like you want to go out and have a beer. Well, I want to make that possible and have like a lot of events, and it's going to be very reliant on partnerships and something that I'm actually building in Las Vegas.
Well, we're definitely going to have to get you
whitelist.
back on around your time for your launch, so we can talk about it in a lot more detail and yeah, exciting.
Animate the profile picture as well.
Yeah,
That'd be the
exactly,
big thing.
yeah.
We can get you back on, get you to do all that, and have it all sound like that. That'd be awesome.
That would be cool.
That'd be amazing.
So I think to kind of we try to keep these not too long. So I think we normally round off with some quick fire questions if you're up for that.
Yeah, of course.
So first one, worst ever trade.
Oh man, that hurt. Just thinking about it. I think they were called, like, it was back in March or something. Nifties, I believe. But it wasn't Nifty Degens like the ones right now. There was another Nifties where you could like customize how they look like. You could name on everything. And I remember like I sold a punk for like 20 something ETH, and I put pretty much all that money in there.
Oh,
and
nice.
after like a month or two, like I had to sell like I bought like 6 or 7 Nifties. I don't think I got back even 1 or 2 ETH back. You know,
wow,
so
okay.
I lost a lot. It hurt.
Nice. Best ever trade.
Of course, going from punks to CyberKongz, definitely. Sweeping the floor a few times when it hit like 0.7 floor, like that's probably one of my best ones.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, cool. Now I'm guessing for this next question you've had a few of these because you buy quite a lot. But rarest reveal.
Rarest reveal, like for mints?
Yeah.
Galactic Apes, I think I did get like the second most rarest one.
Nice.
So
It's a good hit.
and it's not even like I didn't even mint it or something. People were like listing them for sale for, you know, I buy it before it's revealed. I buy it for like 0.39. And then like if you look at the floor for like how it looks like, it's like a 10 plus ETH right now. Even right now, it's a 10 plus ETH. So it's, you know, 10x from reveal.
Nice. And now for this next question, you can't answer your own project or Kongs, I reckon. But if you could send one project to 100 ETH floor, what would it be?
100 ETH floor?
Yeah, one project.
One project. Ooh, that's a good one. I don't own it anymore, but I think Doodles, to be honest.
Oh, yeah?
Just because I think it does have that potential. I you know, kind of like how some projects are becoming the next punks. You know, you see Bored Apes.
Yeah.
They're kind of taking that thing. I think kind of like Doodles has that potential to be like secondary just based on like the attention I've seen on it.
That is music to Calcio's ears. He's got.
I like Doodles. I'm a big fan. I'm not quite got 44 for under an ETH like you have with your Kongs, but I've
You're
tried.
good though.
I've tried.
And now this is our controversial question. If you could delete one project, if you could delete it, which project would it be?
Delete it like it never
Completely
happened.
gone.
Yeah.
Like you press a big red button right now, it's gone. All gone.
Oh my god.
No one loses any money, but if you could delete one project.
Let me see. I don't know, maybe because I hear about this one a lot. My friends talk about it a lot. When I was advising them on how to invest in NFTs, I think they came across a picture of a dick butt.
Oh no.
So I wish it didn't exist at the moment, just so my friends don't see that and make fun of me, because they're like, "Is this what you invest in, Eddie?" I'm like, "No, I don't invest in dick butts, man."
That's definitely
Probably
the best
that's it.
answer we've had.
You've actually got loads of dick butts. I reckn you've actually got like a secret. You've got a secret wallet with like 500 dick butts in it.
We're gonna have to send
Hey,
someone.
let's not talk about that wallet. It's hidden.
Right,
We're not
to
animating
leave
your
the
con.
scan.
We're animating a
Let's
dick butt.
let's
That's
go
what
find it.
you're gonna do the whole podcast as a dick butt.
Oh my goodness.
Can you imagine? You add like some like extra sound effects onto it.
Oh, Jim, you lower the tone.
Oh no.
Yeah, dick butts. It's just, this is the thing. I know we're kind of supposed to be kind of close off. There are so many shit projects, and I'm not necessarily saying specifically dick butts, but the amount of bad projects at the minute, just like we're at the point where we've got like a flipped punk derivative, which is in the colors of a doodle and the style of an ape, like. Jesus Christ, man. Which is why when I hear like someone like you who is building a really genuine product that you are thinking about and not just going, right, cool, I could probably launch this right now and it mint out because it's me. It's really encouraging to hear that you're actually taking your time on it. I like that. That's good.
100%.
It's been a genuine pleasure, Eddie. I've been your host, Calcio. This has been Jimmy T. And of course, with us today is Eddyiskongz. Thank you ever so much for joining us and have a lovely afternoon.
Thank you.